All right, so for everyone that is still with us right now, I will introduce again Dr. Al Mueller, our Dean of Arts and Sciences.
Oh, I see a question just came up in the Q&A box. Where do cybersecurity majors go? That would be to the business school.
Correct.
Well, I'm Dr. Al Mueller. I started my career way back at the University of Iowa, and then I went to Penn State University and Mount St. Mary's, and I've been Dean of Arts and Sciences here for the last 7 years. And I have to tell you, we are just rocking and rolling here at Neumann. I've worked in some of the best places at the times, and I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm still here, because I still think this is one of the best places. If you're communication and digital media, we are the official video partner of the Preston and Steve show here in Philadelphia. Not a lot of people hear about that, but we do that kind of work. If you come to campus, eventually you'll see our $5 million state-of-the-art studio where students can do hands-on work with cameras, with radio, right from day one. And you won't find that pretty much anywhere else. I know I have some criminal justice majors here as well. Criminal justice, we actually have the software that all of the state police use. It's called Analyst Notebook. We actually teach you how to use that software as part of your tuition. And we're going to run you through the gamut. If you're interested in going to police academy, we have a reciprocal agreement with the Municipal Police Academy right now. We have students going through that program. So in your junior year, you go through the Municipal Police Academy, you count those courses back here at Neumann when you come back for your senior year, you graduate with a baccalaureate degree, and you get higher paying jobs when you go into traditional law enforcement. You could also get into the FBI and the CIA eventually down the line. We're actually headed up by a former FBI agent. Biology clinical laboratory science. We've had 100% job placement for the last 9 straight years running. And believe it or not, even though all this COVID is going on and we're shut down and moved to an online and remote learning type of environment, our students are getting full-time job offers to go work in the clinical labs as soon as they're finished with our program here in May. So we do great things. I can talk a lot. I'd like to answer your questions. Psychology, I know somebody asked about psychology. We are the only college or university in all of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that offers behavioral health intervention training. When you graduate, you're going to have to get that training one way or another. Usually costs about $3,100. You get it right here at Neumann, and we're the only college or university in all of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that offers you that. So that is a critical difference. What questions, though, can I answer for you?
Dr. Mueller, it doesn't look like we have any questions right now,
Okay.
But one thing that I think would be important for students to know is how do they interact with their faculty members? I know that's been a question earlier in the week.
Okay, that's great. I have a couple of things to say about that. First of all, our classes are small. You'll see on our website that we have something like a 14 or 15 to 1 student to faculty ratio as a university. That's because you have these really, really, really big nursing classes. In arts and sciences, if you look at it, it's really more like 12 to 1 student ratios. And so you get to know your faculty members personally. I just wrote a letter of recommendation in February for one of our biology majors, and she got into medical school. We did hear that. I wrote another letter of recommendation for a student who's going to graduate school. So as the dean, usually deans don't get to know students on a personal level. Certainly at none of the other places I've worked did that happen. But I get to know a lot of our students. And another student I wrote a letter of recommendation for is going to be going to the George Washington University for graduate school. We do get to know everybody on a very highly personalized level. We have, it comes out of my budget, folks. So I'm going to tell you, I spend tens of thousands of dollars every single semester on academic support services. So if you go into your organic chemistry class, we have students who have already been successful in that course, sitting in on the course again, helping out other students and conducting review sessions along with the review sessions that the teacher does. That way we reduce the likelihood that your student will fail in that class. They'll have greater success. We also hire tutors in specialized areas. So if you're a math major, you're interested in math secondary ed, you're going to take some pretty advanced courses. We have specialized tutors that will help you in each of those areas. So we do this all the time. And it's not the case that you are a number or a name on a page. During all of this COVID crisis, we actually reached out and talked to everybody on the phone. We called up every student that goes to this school. I talked with literally dozens of our students, if not hundreds, of our students in arts and sciences, and they were all just amazed at how personalized we were.
Great. So you had a question that came in from Elizabeth. She's interested in secondary education in math. She wants to know a little bit about the classes she has to take.
Sure. So first of all, Elizabeth, that's a great choice because right now, math secondary ed teachers are critically low. So there's actually a big push all across the country for math secondary ed majors. We have one student right now who's a graduating senior. She already has a couple of job offers. And what's good about our math program is that there's a special type of research area. It's called being a Clare Boothe Luce Scholar. And that's specifically for women in STEM secondary ed areas. So we had not just one, like all of the other schools in the area, we actually had two. And the person who was one of our secondary ed graduates was the second person. We had another math major who was the first person, but she was the second. So a lot of the other programs in our area that are long and established, we only got one per year. We actually got two, and we're a much newer program. So it kind of tells you a little bit about the quality of it. You're going to be taking calculus courses, you'll be taking abstract mathematical theories, you'll be doing geometry, but better, you're going to be doing research with professors who are actually making a difference in the field. We have two of our faculty right now, David DeMarco and Ryan Savitz. They came up with a new approach to something called the M-tile mean. So if in your classes you've learned about medians and modes, those are types of M-tile means. They came up with a different approach to the M-tile mean, and their work is being cited in textbooks literally around the world. We just found out that their work was cited in a textbook that was published in India, another one that was published in South Korea. So you get to work with them, and you get to actually present at real-life faculty conferences. Not as an undergraduate student at an honors type of conference. You're going to be presenting as if you were a faculty member. And that's what that Clare Boothe Luce Scholar Program enables you to do. So you're in a really good field, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is the best school in the area for that kind of thing.
Great, thank you. We had a question come in, a couple different ones about research opportunities for psychology, one from Kylie Bowen and one for an anonymous as well.
Okay, well, hi. Psychology is another great area. Etsuko Hoshino-Brown, who is the head of the psychology program right now, she has actually been publishing book chapters that were co-authored by students in her upper level courses. So you do get a chance to do a lot of hands-on research, not just with her, but with Colleen McDonough, who is a full professor here, and she publishes regularly. Her research deals more with looking at, right now she's working with one of our Spanish faculty to look at a project called Hispanic Faces. So they'll show pictures of just everyday people who, participants in the study. And they say, which one of these people are Hispanic? And the trick is they all are. But most people will play around and we get to look at stereotypes and we get to look at bias, and students get to publish research with her. We have another psychologist on staff. He's nationally recognized in the field of the psychology of peace, Bob Benefield. You get to do research with him as well. So there's lots of opportunities in psychology. A lot of our majors, by the nature of the degree, you have to go on and get your master's degree. So if you're published as a junior or a senior, that severely escalates your chances of getting into a great graduate program. And I will say right now, we're working on creating a master's degree in forensic psychology as well. So that's about 2 years out, but we're in the process. So if you were to come to Neumann, you would be eligible to participate in that program, 4 years down the line when you would graduate from us as a baccalaureate degree holder.
Great, thank you. We have a student that's asking about secondary education and double majoring in English.
Well, you wouldn't double major in English. You'd be an English secondary ed major. So you have both. The secondary ed material, that's the certification through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But we have we have tons of students who come through our English program, and about 7 out of every 10 students will get a job immediately after graduation. And I'll tell you what the big difference is. So here's the big secret. If you are willing to work anywhere in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in this area, in New Jersey or in Delaware, you are much more likely to get a job. If you hold out for that one and only one type of school district, oh, well, I just have to work in Garnet Valley. I just have to work in media, Rose Tree Media. I just have to work in Springfield. Well, maybe they don't have any openings in that particular year, and that's what usually holds everybody back. But within 2 years, everybody has jobs. So that's a good thing. So you don't have to double major. It's all built in. So you would be English, secondary ed. You'd have 2 advisors, one in English and one in our secondary ed certification program. Phenomenal experience. You not only get experience in secondary ed, working in, most students actually get to student teach in the high schools of their choice. So that's a good thing. But you also get a lot of experience working with special needs children along the way. And you get an opportunity to work here on campus with our Child Development Center, the CDC, we call it. So you get a lot of experience, and that really makes a difference with Neumann grads.
Great. Dr. Mueller, I have 2 questions that I'm going to add into one.
Okay.
Question about biology majors and what type of internships, as well as biology majors. Have you had any students that have pursued a career in dentistry?
Yes. So lots of stuff to talk about here. I can go on today. We are a Howard Hughes Medical Institute certified institution for C-phages research. What that means is you get to work in actual hands-on research with bacteriophages. Those are the viruses that infect bacteria. We just got designated that in August of 2018, and to date, we've discovered 16 new bacteriophages. Students, sophomores, juniors, have discovered bacteriophages that no one else on the planet has ever discovered before. Not scientists, not anybody else. They discovered it, our students did. So they get published by the time they're juniors. They're in national publications by the time they're seniors, and they're able to go out and work pretty much wherever they want to. We do have a couple of students who will do this research. They'll go out and be, say, biology, clinical laboratory science majors. They're working, they're gainfully employed, making more than $60,000 a year. We have 2 students right now who are out and they're working live in like Children's Hospital of Philadelphia or Einstein as clinical laboratory scientists. And then they say, you know what, I'd really like to go on to medical school. So they start studying for the MCAT. So there's a lot of flexibility there. In terms of the internships, we just had students complete an internship in Malvern doing flow cytometry. If you know anything about biology today, that is the future of where all of the medical fields are going to be, working with flow cytometry. But other students will do internships working in research labs. We've had a student complete an internship experience, a research experience at the University of Pennsylvania, at Temple University in their Materials Science Institute. Sky is the limit, really, with our program. We are one of the best known biology programs in the entire area. In terms of dentistry, we do have a couple of students who go on to dentistry, and basically it's the same approach as any student who would be going off to medical school. So, we do have a couple of dentists in media right now who came through Neumann's program about 10, 12 years ago. But in terms of our students right now, I can only think of one, and he's in New York right now at a dentistry school in New York. So not a big area in terms of student interest. It's not like everybody wakes up and says, oh my God, yeah, I want to be a dentist, right? Let me dig around in somebody's mouth. But for anybody who is called to that vocation, we can give you the preparation you need, and we have all of the connections in the area that you need.
Great, thank you. We have a couple criminal justice questions again. I know we talked about it earlier, but 2, what are the main classes that you need to take, and maybe some examples, as well as what are the internship opportunities in the criminal justice major?
Okay, so internship, let me deal with that one. That's a lot easier to answer. There's a lot of different possibilities you can take in terms of courses. But internships, you can be doing internships ride-alongs, for example, down at Avalon Beach in New Jersey. I have some students who were doing that last summer. We have students who are in the DA's office this semester, last semester. I mean, obviously, this semester our internships stopped by order of the governor, but in every other semester so far, we've had someone working in the DA's office. We have students who are working pretty much everywhere. We did have one student, we have connections, especially because the head of the program is a former FBI agent. We have connections all through the area. In fact, if you were ever the victim, and I hope this never happens, but if you were ever the victim of a cyber crime, so one time I put my credit card in to pay for a trip that I was taking to a conference, and somebody hacked it and used it to buy a ticket. Well, the man who was in charge of that through the FBI here in King of Prussia, he actually teaches our cybercrime class here in criminal justice. So his name is Michael Moore. He's a field agent for the FBI, and he's the cybercrime expert for the entire Delaware County and Chester County. We have retired police officers and active duty police officers who teach you community policing. We have courses in criminal law. We have courses in judicial process. A lot of the courses that I'm naming, though, you can also get at the Municipal Police Academy. So if you're in that track, you take them there, they transfer back in here. But because Professor Gassot, the FBI agent, he was actually on the case on many of these big high-profile crimes. Like if you go back and you think about all of the different serial killers that we've prosecuted over the years, he was actually on some of those cases or knew personally the FBI agent in charge of them. So things like white-collar crime, terrorism, the courses that he offers where he features the special cases regarding the serial killers. Those are really high popular courses, especially among all of our CJ mates. So those are some of the types of things that you can take. If you have any specific questions, I can let you know if we offer that here or not. But as I said, you can also take courses learning how to use that software package, Analyst Notebook. We call it Intelligence Studies. Let's see, it was not this March, but last March, I brought in the former number 3 person from the FBI. His name was Bob Anderson. And he was in charge of cyber intelligence all around the world. In fact, when he got promoted out of the field to that number 3 position, the Chinese government actually had the chutzpah to send him a letter saying, congratulations on your promotion. It means you're going to be sending fewer of our people to jail. Think about that. That fellow came to our campus. He looked at our CJ program. He said, oh, I got to tell you, this is the best. This is the way to go. If you get a CJ major, you minor in Farsi. We're the only school in the area that offers foreign language instruction in Farsi. That's the language spoken in Iran. Or Russian. We also offer Russian here. If you do any of those, the sky's the limit for your career in CJ.
Great. Al, same question about communications. What types of courses, what types of internships? I know you'll love to do this one.
I do. My PhD is actually in communication studies, so I'm a professor of communication and digital media. Boy, do we have some interesting things going on. Our CDM faculty were just featured literally yesterday in the New York Times because they decided they were going to put together an oral history of the coronavirus, the COVID-19. What's going on campus? What are students doing? What are people in the community thinking? And they're having people send in sound bites and everything and collecting that. And that was featured in the New York Times. I have a student right now, I have 2 students right now who just received $1,000 scholarships from the College of Broadcasters. We literally just found out about this yesterday. Things happen with our CDM program almost literally every week. So you have something in the news somewhere. And a lot of it really has to do with the fact that you're able to do hands-on work, whether you're using a video camera, if you're doing radio, right from day one. You know how ESPN does their stuff, right? You can do a pre-game show, you can do a half-game show, you can do a post-game show. You can do all of that here at noon. We have a half-second time delay from our Miranda Center, which is literally out my window in that direction. If I'm pointing right over here in this direction, this is where our studio is. You have a half-second time delay between those two areas. So a lot of our students get a lot of experience doing sports programs, the pregame, the postgame, the halftime shows. It's phenomenal. And we offer coursework as well in public relations and strategic communication. We offer coursework that deals specifically with the online environment and the ethics that go with the online environment as well. I have Giannis Chalkers. There is nobody else in the entire area who can say they have Giannis Chalkers. He's one of our professors here. He's an associate professor. He was one of the founding members of the band Citizens Arrest. So if you're into that stuff too, he just came back last summer from a worldwide tour with the band. Lots of fun things going on.
Dr. Mueller, student had a question, Tawana, had a question about what type of internships do you do for political science?
Sure. Tawana, I got great news on political science. Political science last year had 100% job placement, and they're being placed in the field. So we have a student right now working at Greenleaf Partners, the biggest lobbying firm in Philadelphia. She did an internship there when she was a student. It transferred into a full-time job. We have students who do internships in the state senator's office, in the federal senator's office, in the federal representative and the state representative's offices. Because our political science program also can participate in the Municipal Police Academy, we have students who are working in police areas, the district attorney's office, pretty much everything that you could think of in the field, they're doing. And one of our graduates, his name is Rich Tutek. Literally, when I mentioned, oh, well, remember Rich Tutek? He went to Neumann? Yeah, he went to Neumann. Rich is great. We love Rich. So everybody remembers our students and they get to know our students because they're actually working in the field.
Al, I'm going to pause on the questions from our students for a second and ask a quick question that I think is important. So new students, obviously, they're going to college for the first time. Can you talk a little bit about what the professors will want from their students, how it can look a little differently from high school?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me give you the secret, okay? Everybody on the call, you get the secret. And the secret is, don't try to do everything the way you're doing it in high school. You got a lot of cheats, you got a lot of hacks, you got, whatever you want to call them. You got a system, right? Because I remember when my daughter was in high school, she could go to school on Monday and they'd be just starting the chapter in math, right? And then they get through the whole week, and the following week, they start the next part of the same chapter in math. So she got, back then, that was the swine flu, she managed to pick that up. And my God, she made like the Exorcist look good, right? Kind of thing. So she was in class on Monday, and then she was out the rest of that week. And she went back the next week, and I said, oh, you're going to have lots of work. She came home. I said, so, what'd you do in school today? She said, nothing. And because they were doing nothing in school. And that's what you probably are used to. By the time you get to a quiz, by the time you get to a test, it's probably sunk in by osmosis because you've been doing that stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, here at college, we do something. It's not nothing, it's something. And if you think about it, in college, we take about 3 weeks of your instruction and compress them down into one. So if you miss class, if you think, oh, I'm just going to get it, I don't really have to study for it, that's going to tank you. That's the number one thing that causes a student not to be successful, and the number one thing that's different between your high school experience and your college experience. Just remember, in high school, when your parents ask you, what'd you do in school today? And you say, nothing, yeah, you're probably right. But here we do something, and you better be doing something too along the way.
Thank you. So we have someone that has a question about what classes do you recommend for students that are maybe thinking about criminal justice or maybe just totally undecided? What should they do to help them figure it out?
Great. We have a core experience here at Neumann. It's not like a lot of other places. In a lot of other places, they have what are called gen eds. So here, you take one of these courses from about 150 in a list, and we'll call it even for you. In our experience, it's called the core. So you'll have to do a course in fine arts. You have to do a course in social and behavioral science. You have to do a science course. So a lot of people who sit back and say, for example, well, I'm kind of thinking I want to be a profiler, right? Since you said criminal justice maybe I want to be a profiler. Well, take a Psych 101 course and see if that works for you. If you're leaning more towards social work or doing things in the community, try our Social 101 course, the Intro to Sociology course. See how that works for you. A couple of other courses that I might recommend. We do offer a fabulously popular course in digital photography. If you could get into that, that might be a course that would be of interest to you, because let's face it, right? If you're working a crime scene, you got to know how to do that. But it's a handy skill for you to have as well, just in your private life. You like to take good photos. So a fine arts course might turn you on to something that previously you weren't really ready for, or you weren't really aware existed. In terms of your sciences, maybe you take an environmental science course. If you want to be working in like forensics type of science area, maybe you want to do a basic chemistry course. We do have a course called Chemical Investigations that's just for our criminal justice students, and it teaches them about real cool things, like the blood spatter and everything like that. But those would be the initial things right off the top of my head. So if you're kind of leaning in one direction, you can take some courses that would be the prerequisite courses for the upper level courses to see if that's really what you want to do. Because I got news for you. When I was in college, I wanted to be a lawyer, because this public speaking thing, that doesn't freak me out. So I wanted to be in law. And I took a couple of courses in political science. I'm a minor in political science as well as a communication major. But one thing that I learned at my undergraduate institution, which was not Neumann, political science at my undergraduate institution was boring as hell. So I got out of that, and I went into communication, and I went into history as well. So I have a communication, history, and philosophy degree, and I have a minor in political science. And sometimes taking those courses tells you, hey, this really isn't the right place for me. Just like taking some of these courses tell you, oh, yeah, this is where I want to be.
Great. We have a number of questions that I have here about people thinking about minoring, and especially communications. A couple people asked about minoring in education, minoring in business, but I think just generally talking about how minors work might be helpful for our students.
Sure. First of all, let me just say, you can't really minor in education. That's a whole kind of package deal. But a lot of our CDM majors, will pick up minors. Some of them will do criminal justice. Some of them will do sports management. Some of them will do psychology. So it really depends. I had a communications student who minored when I was at Penn State. They minored in geology. I said, what do you want to do with that? Oh, I'm just interested in it. Now she's gainfully employed. She's a science editor for a newspaper out in the Midwest. So minors are great. They help fill out all of the rest of your life, allow you to pursue things that you're really interested in, and they give you advantages. So, I have biology majors or art minors. That works. It's, their outlet. It's something that they want to do. It's their passion. I have CJ majors who are foreign language minors. Why? Because it's going to really set them apart from the herd when you're going to apply for a job. Hey, I'm a Farsi speaker. I can understand all this Iran stuff. And then when you turn 27, you get calls galore, right out the wazoo from the FBI, the CIA, the NSD, all those alphabet soup kind of organizations. So I would say if you're thinking about a minor, we give you until your junior year really to solidify that. So it gives you a chance to play around with stuff. But minors really work to help you really set yourself apart when you're going to apply for a job, or, hey, this is something that's just my passion. And that's what a good liberal arts education is about.
Great. Couple questions left. Can you talk a little bit about the science labs?
Oh, yeah. Our science labs are really good. We're going to be updating our organic chemistry lab here in just a year or two, but let me talk about our labs in general. So you get a lot of hands-on instruction. They're capped at 20, so you'll never have more than 20 students in a lab. In your upper level labs, you're really looking at about 10 to 12 students in a lab. So you get a lot of personalized instruction. We offer the Science Olympiad, the Regional Science Olympiad here on campus. They were with another school 7 years ago. When I became dean, they approached us. They said, well, we're kind of outgrowing the campus where we were affiliated with. We'd like to talk to you about coming here. They came in, they looked at our labs and they said, whoa, we love your labs. Every single year that we've hosted it ever since then, we have coaches, we have teachers, we have students. We love your lab. So make sure that, if you get to see our orientation materials, our virtual tour, you get to take a look quickly at our labs. But eventually we'd love to have you come out live and in person, because that's who Neumann really is, and take a look at our lab situation. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. We couldn't have been Howard Hughes Medical Institute certified if we didn't have proper lab.
Great, thank you. Elizabeth, who asked our question about secondary ed earlier, when would she start student teaching for her secondary ed?
We have field experiences starting at the spring semester of your freshman year. So you'd be going out and you'd be doing field experiences. Student teaching, though, is actually reserved for your senior year, the spring of your senior year. But you go out and you will do so many hours worth of field training, and that's the requirement of PDE, the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania sets that out. So our students get boatloads of training. Like I said before, that's one of the reasons why they're in high demand.
Great. One more question similar question to the criminal justice question about what kind of exploratory courses should a student take? What should they think about if they're thinking about communications?
Well, you can take communication courses right off the bat, and I highly encourage people to do that. So we do have an Intro to Communications course, which sort of overviews the whole field of communications. You get to see what journalism is like, and PR is like, and intercultural communication, and interpersonal communication. So that's available. You get to do a course directly in video editing and video production. So that's a basic course that you can get into. You can do the basic radio course. That's a basic course that you can get into. So those are all the things that you would get to do in your freshman year. And that's by design. We want you to have that hands-on experience, because if you go to another program, and I know this because I'm a communication professor, if you go to another program, you're not going to be able to touch the equipment until you're a junior. And that's really the thing that sets us apart. That's why Preston and Steve love us. I have students who are now working as graduates. They're now up at the Wendy Williams Show, the Rachel Ray Show, pretty much everywhere here in the Philadelphia region. You have some of our grads. And Lee Pulkines, who is an Emmy Award-winning director, news director here locally, she actually teaches the TV production classes. So you're learning from the best.
All right, Dr. Mueller, last question, because we're at our time now. So for our students that aren't able to visit, what is it about Neumann that makes us special?
Two things. Everybody, whether I'm talking faculty, staff, students, whoever, two things make Neumann different. One, we live our mission. It's organic to this place. So, people put a lot of stuff on paper and say, this is our mission. We mean what we say. And that's everywhere. You see it through our admissions folks, you see it in financial aid, you see it in our faculty, you see it in our administration. And the numbers of students who literally told me personally, I really appreciate the fact that you call. My sister is going to some other school, some other college, and they didn't even hear from anybody from their school. It shows in what we do in the day-to-day, and we live our mission. That's number one. Number two, the people. We spend a lot of time hiring, and we spend a lot of time focusing on the right person. So we make sure the people who we bring into the community serve you are really the best. Anybody can hire a professor. I want to hire the professors who are specialists in teaching undergraduate students. Because let's face it, graduate faculty, no offense, I can have a trained baboon standing up there doing most of the stuff. But to teach a student how to write a thesis statement in their freshman year, you need a teacher to do that. And that's what I spend most of my time doing, hiring the very, very best. That's what makes us different.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mueller, for joining us today. And thank you to all of our students that tuned in for this session and for all of our sessions this week.
One quick thing.
Go for it.
If you have any questions, if you're like me, you walk away from something and you think, I should have asked that question. Why don't you shoot me an email? I answer all emails within 24 hours. I know I'm old, right? Yeah, it's not the texting thing that everybody does. But shoot me an email. muellera@neumann.edu. That's neumann.edu. Or you can reach out to me through our admissions folks. And I answer all emails within 24 hours. That's one of my unique selling promises.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. We push everyone's time, and we really do hope to see you on campus soon. And same as Dr. Mueller said, any questions you may have, reach out to any of your admissions staff members, and we can make sure to get your questions answered. Thanks very much and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you soon.